For brands who want to show up in gaming without disrupting the experience, it's really important that they focus on finding what makes their brand unique and translating that in a way that makes sense to a gaming audience. A lot of mistakes I see is a copy-paste of either a brand asset or just a way of showing up that they might do in traditional media, and they haven't taken into account how different that might be for a gaming audience. So you really need to make sure you're understanding, and that's going to change platform by platform. So what works in a Roblox environment probably isn't the same thing that works in a Fortnite environment. And sometimes for brands this can be challenging because it might mean you have to bend the rules a little bit. A lot of the times there's a very rigid playbook that brands like to follow, and of course they want to protect their brand IP, and that's important. But there's a little bit more of a playfulness, naturally, that comes in with the gaming space, and a mistake I see sometimes is brands not leaning into that enough, and that can make it start to feel a little disruptive. There's also another side of that, which is gaming is obviously increasingly a media-ready platform, so we're seeing people like Roblox come out with rewarded video placements where you can take an existing brand asset and just put it into a gaming space. I think those types of experiences work really well because the rewarded video is actually adding value for the player at the end of watching the video, as opposed to just forcing them to watch something with nothing on the other end. So kind of two separate pieces of the same answer.
How is gaming effective for getting through the funnel?
Yeah. So gaming is a really powerful tool, especially when you look at mid-funnel metrics. So by nature, gaming is very immersive, and there is a ton of research that shows when consumers are in a more immersive environment, they're able to connect more emotionally with whether it's a person or a brand. And so we see things like consideration being a really powerful thing for brands to move in this space. But we also have obviously a lot of clients who are worried about selling their product. And so partners and platforms like Roblox and Fortnite are starting to create more opportunities for what I like to call a path to commerce. So Roblox partnered with Shopify. They can actually transact in the in-game environment without ever leaving Roblox. But that's not the only way for people to make transactions around gaming. We see things like codes are a great way to take people from something on platform to something more tied to a transaction. The big thing for me is just not creating a dead end for the consumer. Gaming is probably not served best as a last click place, but it can be the reason that somebody makes a last click with your brand somewhere else.
So what does real performance measurement in gaming look like today?
Yeah. So we talked just previously about how it's a really powerful mid-funnel channel for things like consideration, and it's really rich with a lot of intent metrics. So time spent, engagement, social shares, things that are really going to show that people care about your brand and are thinking about it in a bigger way. But then, of course, there are still, I think, a lot of opportunities for us to find more new ways to measure in this space. I don't think it's as solid, maybe, as it can be.
Okay, and what are smart brands doing differently in gaming today?
Smart brands in gaming are not just thinking about gaming as a one-off channel. In the past few years, we've really been in a space where it felt almost like an experiment for brands. They would go in, they'd make one big pulse, one big investment, and then kind of pull back out. Modern smart brands are starting to see the value of gaming as an entire ecosystem. It's not about just I came in and did one thing and I'm leaving, but I'm starting to build this out in a more robust way for my brand and creating a more networked experience for how they show up. So think about things like we're going to sell UGC in one platform, and then we're also going to have a custom experience somewhere else. And all these places have different audiences and different objectives and goals. So thinking about it in a more robust way as a part of their collective media plan and media ecosystem and brand ecosystem, as opposed to a one-off piece. And then the second thing that I'm seeing a lot of that I think is really smart is using creators as a connection to the gaming community. So instead of thinking about creators as an amplifier for your brand message, think of them almost as your decoder to help understand what consumers are going to want from brands. And again, back to your original question around showing up authentically and not in a disruptive way, creators are the ticket to that. And so brands that are really partnering with gaming creators, whether it's through things like mods or even to just help construct better environments for their brands, are who I think are doing things in a smart way today.